Alright, so I thought this was going to be an easy start to a video for something, but yeah, it's never so easy. So, you EP3 guys should be stoked. We got an EP3 here. Okay, well, yeah, EP3 guys, we got an EP3 here, so went to pull it in, find out this thing's got a shot battery. So thankfully I've had some cables. Yeah, off to a great start. You guys should be stoked though, because this thing is actually going to be my prototype car for doing bumper bars on this thing, and that's basically what this video is going to be about. So obviously get this thing in, and then we can talk from there, because it's freaking hot as balls out here.
Okay.
Yeah. This boy's struggling. I'm gonna pull this in so I'm out of the sun.
Typical Honda, hard to find the number burst gear.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Does it make you miss your RSX?
No, I hated that thing. Well, I hated that about it.
Yeah. Before anybody says anything, I will be starting on this a little bit in the next couple days, so just kind of waiting on more money to get started, but I got to pull the soft top off and probably drop the fuel tank, and I want to roll the engine under it pretty soon in the next couple days, probably right after the weekend, because today is Thursday? I don't even know. Thursday, I think. And yeah, but anyway, topic of today's video is this little nugget. So this thing actually belongs to a buddy of ours. Goes by the name of Mike. He says he's like a big EP3 community page dude, so I don't know his last name. So some of you guys, if you have EP3s or on Facebook, you may know him. So he offered the car to me because he wanted to get one of my bumper bars anyway. He wanted one made by me. He was like, oh, just keep the car as long as you need it. So I only really need it for like a day or two tops. But yeah, he dropped it off last night, so I'm going to try and get some prototyping done for the front bars. This does have the Japanese front, as you can tell. I mean, I forget what the other front looks like. I have only other person I know is my old coworker Roy, who has one. Yeah, so I'm told that if it fits the Jap front, it should fit the USDM front. So pretty much straightforward. I'm just going to kind of walk you through kind of how I go about doing this stuff. Should be a relatively simple video. And just because my old ass has achy joints, I'm going to throw this thing up on the lift and get it to waist level so it's easier to work on.
Oh, dude, that's why you have this thing, dude.
Yeah. And then, yeah, we got these stylish magenta colored hood pins. So, yeah, good old K20. Dusty 20. Twerk, Boys R Us. Where's this dude get his stickers?
Man, I have to ask him.
Mike, where you get your stickers at? Kind of sus. So, before I do much, just looking at how to take this bumper off, looks like it's just, you know, this era has a lot of these plastic clips. He said in the wheel well where it goes to the fender, just has zip ties for now. Because, whatever, that's whatever. It is what it is. So, zip ties and some clips, and this thing should pop off. There might be some screws underneath. I'm not sure if he has an under tray. So, we'll get this thing up really quick and we'll check it out. Alright, so I just took a quick peek at it. Unfortunately, I'm not even going to be able to use this car to make the prototypes for. I can make it to this vehicle, but I can't reproduce it off of this vehicle because, I don't know, let me flip the screen around. So let me show you here. So this is the end of the frame rail. This is where I would be bolting it to, so it's very similar to the RSX in style. But immediately, this frame rail is damaged, it's tweaked. All the nuts are stripped because I just had to fight like hell to get that crusty bolt out. And this side is no better. This one has the broken bolt, and then it's actually welded shut on the bottom, or snap flush or whatever. And I got to try and get this top bolt out here. So unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to use this vehicle to actually make the production ones. So I take back that last clip. I'm sorry, dudes. I had no idea what to anticipate. I thought it was going to be a pretty clean car. Sadly, it's not. So I can get the general idea. Obviously, I'm still going to go through. I can save the file for the bend bar or the bend program on the bar and stuff. It's just I'm going to have to tweak it. So I can save my general measurements, then I can take that and borrow my coworker's, which is, he has two, so hopefully one of them is cleaner than this. Neither of them are Japanese front, so that's obviously a slight issue. But yeah, I'll have to figure something out. But in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start getting this thing kind of prepped. Everything's painted, so I got to clean all the paint off of everything because I might have to weld some caps onto the end of the frame rails here. But yeah, I'm going to kind of start picking away at it, and then I'll figure out something and I'll update you guys because this kind of changes things. Alright, so I was able to clean up the holes enough on the ends of the frame rail, at least one each, enough to bolt something to it. So the only other option would be to cap the front end here, which I don't think he wants to do. So I got at least one good bolt hole on there. So yeah, I'm gonna run with that. So at this point, because of the way it is, there's no bolt hole on the bottom here. Obviously, I mean there is, but like I said, they're like broken off flush, and there's no getting that out without cutting and welding something new in, and that's just gonna be a huge pain. So yeah, I'm just gonna make like an L bracket and then, you know, modify that from there for future ones. So it'd be like a two-piece bend, but yeah, should be pretty easy. Yeah, gonna kind of just C-clip around it, whatever that, cup it over. So yeah, I'm gonna get some measurements really quick and cut something and bend something up. All right, I think I figured out what I want to do. So I'm gonna cut a long piece and I'm gonna bend it to cup it around the edge like that, and then I'm gonna add a separate piece that, you know, plates the ends. That way it's super strong, and that way in the event of an accident or something, it's not just a one little piece here. It's like grabbing the whole frame rail, so it's gonna be really strong. And then it'll bolt up top here, and then that way, because this frame rail is actually pretty straight, so I can save the one, or at least take as good of pictures as I can, and I can recreate it off of that, because then it's just going to be mirrored onto this side. So this one, it'll still work, it's just not going to be hugging flush. I'm going to have to try and smack this straight. But yeah, that's going to be the best bet, and then it'll be easy, because it'll just be like a straight piece just like this. So it's roughly like 9 1/8 inch after bend material, and then 1.5 wide, and then just cut a little square to plate the front. So I'm going to use the plasma cutter just to make this quick. I'll worry about cleaning it up when the final product comes. My measurements were just slightly off, so it does fit around it, but yeah, you see this gap here. So basically that's roughly a 1/2 inch. So I'm just going to trim a 1/2 inch off the top and the bottom, mostly on the bottom obviously because it's hitting there, but so it's cleaner up on top anyway, and that should be good. And then honestly from that I'm going to try and make another, because this one obviously does fit that side, but then I can just mark for the bolt holes, which should be pretty easy. I can just poke up through the bottom, put a little dab of something on there, and then find them that way. But yeah, looking good so far. There we go, that fits a lot better. So there we go. So ideally just like that, and then now I would just make a piece to just weld across that. You know what I mean. Yeah, easy peasy. Okay, so here's the solution that I've come up with. So that's a nice looking cap, right? So the only thing is I overcut this a little bit, so I wanted to make sure that the holes were big enough to where you could have some wiggle room. So I just marked on there to add an 1/8 inch of material up on the top side here, so that way, and then obviously I'm going to slot the holes this way, so that way you can, you know, scoot it front and back. But as it goes, just like that. So a little bit of a love tap to get it all the way into place, but that's all the way into place. It looks pretty solid to me. I'm stoked. So now I can build another one of these, and then I can, it's just going to be mirrored, so I'm going to have to cut the bolt off of that side that's all stripped out and then hammer the frame rail straight, but otherwise it's just mirrored. It should be pretty easy. So we've made some pretty solid progress. So this driver's side cap is all finished up now. So I mean, obviously it's not fully welded, but it's as far as I'm gonna go until I actually get it made. And I just finished up the passenger side one. So not as pretty as the driver's side one because I was rushing this one a little bit more, but nonetheless, it works just fine. Look at that. We're looking pretty minty. So now I just found out that apparently this isn't a JDM front. I don't even know. So whatever front this is made, whatever front this is, I'm making it for that one. So you guys can fight in the comments. I don't really know. But yeah, so those are done. I would like to go get those drawn up before I continue this. So I think I'm gonna probably wrap it up for the day. I may throw the bumper on, get some measurements for the bar itself, but I think in the morning, I'm gonna take these things down to the laser shop that I go to and see if they can't draw them up for me, or at least give them some good measurements, so that way they can then draw them up for me, and then I can get a jump start on that, because I could just build it to it. It's just then it's going to be harder for them to just, you know, get the dimensions of that thing, whereas if I just take them that as is, it's probably going to be a lot easier for them to draw it up because they can get easier dimensions and measurements. So yeah, you know what, I think I'm going to wrap it up for the day on this thing. So picking up off this EP3 stuff, that's going to be a little bit till that bar is done, so not a whole lot of content left for that in this video, but I've got something even cooler. So I just got a car dropped off that is actually the car that helps kickstart all of this, everything, like the shop, all my tooling to start doing the fab stuff. Yeah, let me show you really quick. So if this car doesn't look familiar to you, then you probably haven't been watching my channel for very long. So this right here is my old, I think this is a 94 or a 95 NA Miata. So I picked this thing up probably close to 2 years ago now, right at the start of the pandemic. And it was right after I left Hassport for the first time. And this car was like bought on a whim. I bought it for like 800 bucks. It was my very first flip car to actually make profit off of. But I pretty much just, I cleaned up the interior, had some old buckets in there, yada, 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 really poorly done roll cage. So I cut all that out, put stock buckets in there, cleaned up the interior, detailed it, did all that jazz. I serviced just the basic services, you know, full fluid flush. I think I did some plugs and stuff. And then I did a paint job on the body, like the bumper, for example. It had this like crazy, like disgustingly ugly front bar sticking out of it, so I plugged the bumper up with fiberglass, fixed all that, gave the whole car a paint job. Obviously not the nicest, it was some Summit Racing paint, and it was just not my nicest paint job, but it looked way better. It was on stock wheels, stock suspension. And now the owner, 2 years later now, the lady has hit me up through the guy that actually bought the car. I think it was her friend, and he sold it to her. So she hit him up to hit me up. She didn't know that it was my old car, and he asked if I'd be willing to do the wide body setup on the rear, because the front, you know, you just cut the fenders and bolt the new ones on. But as for the rear setup, it's got to be done, you know, welded shut and all that. And now fast forward, and we've come full circle. So she actually just left a little bit ago. She dropped the car off, and she already even started the process. So she already cut the fenders, or cut the quarters up. So she did it slightly different than how I would have done it. Which I already explained to her. So basically my only issue is that when I go to weld it, it's going to suck the metal in here on the quarter panel like that. But she's totally understanding. She gets it, and she's not worried about it. So basically all I'm here to do is weld those seams up and waterproof them, which, like, I told her I use clear JB weld. It works really well. That's how I did mine. So super, super nice chick. And yeah, it's just funny how it's come full circle from the car that kind of got me started doing all this. This is the one that funded getting me to start everything, and now we're full circle in the shop space back working on it. So I'm gonna get this thing adjusted, get it up on the lift, and then I can pull these wheels off and start working on it. And I may or may not have just bought 2 pit bikes, whatever you would call these, 2 little Coleman bike things for my coworker. Yeah, I just need something to rip around, something fun. I got them for piss cheap, so I ain't mad. So you can see what we're working with here. Basically all I'm doing here is I'm going to clean up the metal outside, inside a little bit more. And then the point is to pinch this together, weld it shut, and then to make sure it's watertight, I'm going to take some clear JB weld and go over the whole seam weld. So the way that ideally you would do it, like I think I mentioned before, is you would cut this top layer a little bit more, and then you can fold the inside layer in. But because it looks like she cut the inside layer a little bit too far to go ahead and correct that, because you got part of the frame right here, or the unibody, whatever it's called. I don't know, I'm not a car guy in that, so whatever. I'm not a body man. I don't know what the term is, but you can see some of the main structure here, this middle layer, so I don't want to cut any more of that. So I'm just going to try and find a way to hammer this all up and pinch it shut. But that's literally all we're doing, is we're closing that gap up on both sides, welding it shut, JB welding to keep moisture out, and she's good. Alright, so I'm about halfway done with this side. I got up to here, from here to here done, and this side from here to here. It's definitely, yeah, they definitely kind of gave me a run for my money with this one. It's definitely not easy, but I should be able to get it done. But I'm kind of itching to ride one of these things really quick, so I'm going to do that.
How do you use this thing?
Pull the throttle.
How you turn it on?
It's already on.
Oh.
Yeah, just don't push the red button down, because that's the kill switch. That's how you shut it off, is you push the button off.
It's one gear?
Yeah.
So you just push and go?
Yeah, just throttle. They get cooking. This is so sketchy. One-handed. Oh my gosh. He doesn't know it yet, but my buddy took the governors or whatever it is off of those things. So they don't go like 15 miles an hour. These things get up to like 30. They're little rippers. Alright, so I just finished up with this side. I still got to grind the outside of the welds, and then I got to go over it with the JB weld still. But you can see exactly what I was talking about when I was telling you that how it pulled it in really hard like that. So she said it's fine, but there's no way around that because, again, the way that they had cut it, yeah, it kind of screwed it. So the whole inside section there got pulled in because I had to tap this side in. But she said the flare covers it, so I'm assuming she has the same style flares that I had, where they're the large ones that overhang this whole section and come back.
If you miss me, I'm just a phone call away.
This side came out quite a bit better, at least externally. Internally is a little bit worse because of how big the gap was. So I used that tape to trace out the gap, and then I cut that out of just some 11 gauge. So I was able to maneuver it a little bit, or shape it a little bit. But yeah, it's just the cut was too bad. So it should still work. I'm gonna massage it up a little bit more. But then the only thing left to do is mix up some of this JB Weld. This is clear, so that way I can go over all the weld seam with it, and this is just gonna help keep the moisture out, so that way they don't have any problems in the future. Alright, well, we are good to go. I'm just waiting on her response right now. I just texted her, told her that it's all done, sent her the pictures of it to make sure she's okay with it. Again, this is all stuff I explained before I even touched the car while she was here. I was showing her what would happen. So I am much more stoked on this passenger side. It came out a little bit better, even though it was the worst of the two, like cut-wise. The driver's side, I mean, in hindsight, if I were to cut it out and do it again, I would do like I did over there. I thought I was able to push it in enough. I mean, I was, but it was just because I was able to. It pulled the quarter in, but the body kit she's looking looks like the KBD kit, so it's an entire quarter panel flare that hides it. So yeah, just waiting on her response. So in the meantime, I'm probably gonna go rip this little freaking bike around and wait. So if you guys did enjoy the video, be sure to let me know in the comments down below. If you're new to the channel, hopefully you've considered subscribing by now. If you want to help support the channel, I do have a big cartel. That's where I sell all of my products and my merch and such. And then I also have the Amazon affiliate links in the description of all the videos. That gives you links to all the tools, equipment, little goodies I like to use and such. And by buying from there, that helps support the channel, as well as liking, sharing, commenting, and of course subscribing. So anyways guys, thanks for hanging out with me for the day, and do what you love, forget about the rest, and keep pursuing your goals. One day at a time. We're getting closer to where I want to be. So we'll see you in the next one. Peace out.